Hey, what's up guys? This is Vincent, and in this Topaz Photo AI review, I'm going to be taking a look at version 2 and to see what it can do, if it improves the photo. Check out the sharpening and denoise tools, as well as the image enlargement. And let's get started. What I'm going to do is pull in some photos here into Topaz Photo AI 2. And here I have a photo of Easter Island, or Isla de Pascua, a territory of Chile. So once I opened this photo in Topaz Photo AI, it automatically scanned the image and applied the best tools. And in this scenario, it's the removing noise. So let's take a look and zoom in a little bit more to see how it did here. I'm going to zoom in to about 400. And it's pretty hard to tell in this image, but it did do a slight noise reduction here. One thing that's very noticeable is the fringing that it removed. You can see there's some blue or cyan fringing here. And now let's go to a different part of the image. And definitely there was some noise removed. Oh, it's quite noticeable. The noise was removed in the sky, as well as some color noise. And I'm going to zoom out here, because one thing I noticed was with the noise reduction that Topaz Photo AI applies, there's a slight color change in the sky. You can see it while I'm clicking on this image here on the right. This is the preview, and I'm showing you the before and after. So this is the before noise reduction, and this is the after. So there's a slight color cast or color change in the sky. It's not that big of a deal, but it's definitely noticeable. As well as the foreground here with the remove noise. It brightened up the blacks a little bit, or removed or increased the shadows. Let's take a look at the options here. So there's strength, raw normal, raw strong. I don't think the strength, by increasing it, it's going to remove this color cast. And what's this minor deblur? This is just a minor sharpening. Okay, that's fine. Anyways, it didn't automatically do any sharpening here in Photo AI. So what I'm going to do is take a look at this statue here, or this face, and there wasn't that much sharpening, or the sharpening was non-existent with the remove noise tool. So what I'll do is toggle this on, just apply a standard sharpening, and you can see some artifacts showing up here which I don't like. That could be just the details actually, so it might be a good thing, but let me just go to lens blur and see how the sharpening is. So the sharpening is definitely much better compared to the original image, so I can definitely see more detail here. And regarding these artifacts, it's not actually an artifact, it's actually a part of the rock, so it brought out some detail from the statues, which is actually a good thing. You can see here as well. Let me zoom out. Now let me take a look at the sky, what it does with the sharpening in the clouds. So it did sharpen the landscape or the background a little bit. Didn't ruin the clouds. So that's pretty good. And it looks like the noise reduction removed some of the shadows here, which may or may not be a good thing depending on the artistic look you're looking for, but personally I would have liked it a little bit more dark, or no noise, or no shadows removed. Let's take a look here. There's no faces, there's no text in this image. You can also take a look at the subject that it selected. So it selected mainly this subject to apply the sharpening. And you can also change the background of the subject. So if you go right here, you can select the background and then apply the noise reduction and the sharpening only to the background or to the landscape, but I think the default is best in this scenario. I'll just click cancel. You can also brush away or mask away the selected subject, but I won't be doing it in that because you guys all know how to do brushing. And as you can see, there's some adjust lighting or balance color, and it's not available in raw files yet, so it's in beta. So that's why I have this same image, but it's a JPEG. And what I'll do is I'll just remove the sharpening to keep it practically the same. And as you can see, the image on the right has nothing applied and there's no tonal or color changes in the sky. So let's see what adjust lighting does. It's supposed to like brighten it up, which it did. So it made the shadows brighter and the highlights a little bit darker, but there wasn't that many highlights as you can see. And I mean, this is good if you're taking a photo in a concert or in a high dynamic range scenario, but I still kind of like this image here a little bit better. Of course, you'll need to take it into Capture One or Lightroom or Photoshop to do some color adjusting and color grading and just give your own artistic touch. So I'll remove the adjust lighting here. The balance color is supposed to like remove color cast and minimize tonal changes in the color. So let's see here. It didn't do much of a big difference here. And if I combine it with adjust lighting, let's see what happens. It's updating right now. It has a warm tone here with the adjusting lighting and the balancing color. Personally, I like the photo on the left a little bit more with the dark foreground and the brighter background. Technically, I would just only apply the remove noise and the sharpen tool for this image, and then do the rest of the color editing or color grading in Lightroom, Photoshop, or whatever software you prefer. Now, let's take a look at this image right here of this cat. This is a DNG file. And as you can see, this is also toggle. I can't use this yet. Oh no, this is a JPEG. I corrected this before this video. So here on this image, I can toggle on and off the adjusting lighting and the balancing color because it's a JPEG. But the initial image, I can't use it. You can see the lock icons because it's a DNG right here. So anyway, let's go back to this cat photo. I took this photo in Flores, Guatemala quite a few years ago. It's fit. I'm not going to do any remove noise. You guys know what it looks like. But let me zoom in on the cat here. Let's see how much detail it adds with the sharpening, which it automatically applied. And yeah, so compared to the image on the left, which is the original, the image on the right definitely has more detail. And let me see what happens if I knock up the strength a little bit more. There's only a slight improvement in the sharpening, but overall it's definitely sharpened the cat here. Maybe let's take a look at the table. Yeah, the table here along the edges, it's definitely more sharpened. Lens blur, let me see what happens with motion blur. It looks like lens blur does a better sharpening, a better job on sharpening. And let's take a look at standard. It still looks like lens blur is the best, but I wouldn't go overboard. Keep it at 47 and it looks good. Now here's a good image to check out how the adjust lighting works and the balance color. So the adjust lighting, there's not that many like shadow or over bright areas, so there's not much clipping, I should say. But let's see what happens. So not much of a big difference. It looks like with the adjusting lighting, it made the image look a little bit more sharp, just with the increase in contrast. So there's definitely a little bit more contrast on the image, so it looks pretty good. And now let's see what balance color does. So this is a warm picture. You can notice the yellow. So it neutralized the color, or color corrected the image, and you can now tell this cat has that more gray tone to its fur. So depending on your touch or what you're looking for, you may prefer the image with a balancing color, or you may prefer the original color. Personally, I still like the image on the left. This balancing color is probably better when you're taking a portrait and there's like a color cast on you, just in my opinion. Okay, so now let's go to this other image of the Eiffel Tower I took years ago. This is a pretty old photo. It's about 15 years old. I took it with a Sony point and shoot camera. So it wasn't my greatest days of photography. But let's zoom in. And this image had noise reduction automatically applied. I'll also apply some standard sharpening. Let's zoom in here. Let's see how it looks. So there's definitely noticeable noise reduction. It's mostly color noise that was removed from what I see, not much luminous noise. And then the Eiffel Tower was also sharpened. And if we hover over this subject, you can see what's selected with the red overcast, or the red mask. Now let's just zoom out here. You can see this like halo effect here with the ambient light coming from the Eiffel Tower. And I already tested this before, but the adjusting lighting isn't going to make the image that much amazing. Same thing with the balancing color. So if you do, let's see, it's still updating. The balancing color definitely improved it and removed some of this ambient light or this halo effect. But to correct it, you'll need to create a better mask, and then you'll need to take it into Photoshop or Lightroom Capture One, or whatever software you prefer. 0-in-1 RAW is pretty cheap, so that might be a better option. And let's take a look here. This is a portrait. I downloaded this portrait from Pexel, so I'll leave a link in the description. It's a royalty-free image, so I highly recommend checking it out. I usually don't do portrait photography, so hence the reason I have to go over there. So with this image here, Topaz Photo AI automatically applied some sharpening. But what I'm really interested in is some of the pimples or acne this woman has. So I'm going to apply this Recover Faces and see what it does. Well, it applied it pretty quick. But you can see there's slight improvements in the face and removal of the acne or the blemishes. So the bigger or larger blemishes, they're still there. And even if I put the strength to 100, let's see what happens. Yeah, it doesn't make a big of a difference. So what Recover Faces or Recovering Face did was it removed some of the smaller blemishes here on the cheeks, and it definitely smoothed out the skin, made the hair a little bit look smoother as well, the hair, and a little bit under the eyes. Even though it's not very noticeable, it did make an improvement to this image. Now let's go to this other image here, which definitely has some dark backgrounds, some highlighting here, a blurred person here. Let's take a look at the subject. So it's selected a little bit more than the faces. It selected the body, so which is good to do color grading. So it already applied the Recovering Faces automatically. And let's see here. So you can see the skin of these three concert goers or individuals at the club. It's been smoothed out. Not much of a big difference on the guy in the background, just because he's blurred out, so it's not a big deal that no adjustment has been really applied to him. Let me zoom in here. So now we can definitely notice it. One thing this recovering faces did incorrectly is this under eye here. There's like a dark circle that is not here, which is actually the shadow. So what I think I need to do is remove the strength or decrease it to make it better. Yeah, it looks pretty bad, the recovering faces with this girl's under eye. Does not look that good. Hers looks a little bit normal on this eye, but on this eye, on her right eye, it looks pretty bad. I don't know, maybe it's the makeup job. I don't know. One option I can do is just to mask away the eyes to correct it. Yeah, so that's a little bit odd. And I'm going to zoom out, and you can definitely see the colors are the coloring, or the colors a little bit cool here. So let's see what balance color does. And it's working right now. So it gave it a slightly warmer tone. I think the color on the left looks better. So for the balancing color, you can adjust the temperature as well. So I'll put it a little bit cooler. A little bit cooler. Oh, it's still too warm, the image I editing, so let me make it a little bit cooler here. No, it looks much more warm, so let me see what happens when I just move it to the right. Oh, then it just goes overboard. So I think what I need to do is put the temperature much cooler, wait till it updates, and then decrease the opacity. And now it looks looks much better. It added a little bit color to their face, a little bit warmer. Actually, I think about 30 or 29 will look good. Yeah, now the color grading is much better. And let's see what adjust lighting does with the shadows and highlights here. It's enhancing. Oh wow, now this photo looks a lot better with the lighting. Personally, I think it's a lot more better, but I do have a problem with this recovering faces here. The job it did on her eye, under the eye, is not so great. Like even the before photo right here, you can see the lines, which is natural, but if photo AI is going to correct it, it can't go overboard, which it kind of did. And the only other way to correct this, actually what I'm going to do is try correcting the eyes here, see what happens. Let's go to subtract, and I'll just subtract this. This is probably a bad job, because I should have a better feathering. Subtract this, subtract hers, and subtract hers. Let's see what happens here. Yeah, now it looks a lot more better. But no, it's still pretty bad here. You know what? Now that I look at it, the original photo, the under eye has that dark line or shadow, so it doesn't look like it's an issue with Topaz Photo AI. It's just, I just selected a bad image. Sorry guys. So anyways, that's it, and this is the Topaz Photo AI 2 review. If you guys like this video, make sure to subscribe, follow me on Instagram, and give this video a like. See you soon.